Hello TouchDesigner enthusiasts, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be making this pretty cool particle tunnel effect. It has a ton of colors, it has a ton of movement, and it feels like it's going straight into your retinas. Without further ado, let's start. We're going to be making the entire network from scratch, starting with the render network. I'll press tab to bring up the op create dialog here, go into the top menu and find the render top. Drop that down. Press tab again, go into the comp menu and find a camera as well as a light. For those of you who are new to TouchDesigner, just like in the real world, to create a movie, you will need a camera, a light, and the render is essentially what comes out of the camera. I like to make the render a little bit bigger so we can tell that it's an important operator, and we'll also connect an RGB key here. Quick way to add a black background, and finally another null. I'll make this null a bit bigger as well. Press the display flag here so we can see what we're doing, and by holding Alt and dragging we can annotate this section of the network, and I will call it render. I'll also color it purple. Let's go a little bit up and add a box pop from the pop menu. Make this a bit bigger as well. Add a null here. Make it a bit bigger. And add a geometry. The geometry is what converts this, which is just a bunch of data, into an object in 3D space that is then captured by the camera and flows through to the render top. I will call this null particle. We'll have many of these boxes, and we'll go back into the box pop, and by middle mouse clicking on the size here, we can start dragging to the left and making it much smaller. So we'll settle on 0.1 for now, and we will change this later. Right mouse click, I'll grab all these, reposition them upwards a tiny bit, Alt click and drag to annotate, and we will call this particle. Now let's create our instancing template. Click tab to open the op create dialog, go into the pop menu, and we'll find a torus. A torus is essentially a donut shape. And by clicking on the orientation menu here and choosing Z-axis, we're going to make the donut point towards us. We're going to drop a null pop here as well, and we'll call this null instancing. Let's go back to the geo, go to the instancing page, turn on instancing, drop this instancing pop right here, and when we set the translate X, Y, and Z to the point positions of the torus, we will get a box at every point in the torus. Just so you're familiar with the concept, if I go back to the torus, click A to activate the viewer, this is what allows me to see it from different angles, and click W so we can see the wireframe. The torus is essentially made up of rows and columns, and wherever these rows and columns intersect, we get a point. Now for each one of these points, we got a box. These boxes look a tiny bit too big for me, so let's again click on the size and drag to the left. I think maybe something like this makes sense to me. And we also want these boxes to be quite long. Click A to activate the viewer, and let's just see it from a different angle. Let's expand the size here, and by middle mouse clicking on size Z, we'll be able to make the boxes a bit longer. And this is what we're after. Now, we're not really going for this structured, ordered look. We want the boxes to feel like they just arrive at random positions alongside the tunnel. So let's take the torus to the left here. Right click right after it and insert an operator, and we're going to drop down a sprinkle pop. The sprinkle essentially adds points at random locations on the torus. And by default, it's adding points alongside the surface of the torus. We actually wanted to add points on the actual volume of the torus. So we'll change this to volume, and now we have points alongside the volume of the torus. I feel like that's a little too many points. Let's take down a 0. This seems a bit more manageable. And finally, because we want to make this feel like a tunnel, we'll right click right before instancing null here, insert an operator, and drop down a transform pop. We'll expand the scale here and increase size Z, and you can tell that it's starting to become a bit longer. Let's expand it quite a bit, and you can tell that this is already starting to feel like a tunnel. Now, clicking on the top right corner here, we can split the left and right here, so we get 2 screens. And I'll click on this little arrow here and pull up the geometry viewer. Now you can tell that the camera is right here. I want the camera to be centered in the screen. So I'll go to the camera. By default, the TouchDesigner camera is situated 5 points away from the center of the screen. I'll take it all the way down to 0. And now there are all of these particles that are sitting behind the camera. We don't really care about them because we can't see them. So in our transform pop over here, we're just going to compensate the Z translation so we get something like this. So there's no particles behind the camera. What this now lets us do, let's close down this window, is change the camera angle. Now, we want this to feel like we're looking through a very wide angle lens. By going into the View tab over here and dragging FOV angle to the right, we can change the field of view. And now it feels like we're looking through a wide angle lens. We can probably make this tunnel a bit longer. Maybe something like that. This looks good to me. And now let's start coloring these boxes. So I'll move these guys over here. I'll move this guy over there. And let's drop down an annotation box here as well. And we'll call this instancing. Color it some shade of purple, just like that. Click tab to open up the upgrade dialog, and I'll drop down a noise top. This noise top is going to help us color the boxes. So the way we want to color them is the boxes that are closest to us will have a certain color, and then as they get further away from us, their color will change. Because we're coloring it in this one-dimensional manner alongside the Z-axis, we do not need a two-dimensional noise. So I'll go into the Common tab over here and change it from 256 to 1. So now we have a one-dimensional noise. In the Fill Viewer menu, I'll just change it to Fill so we can see what we're doing. Let's go back to the Noise tab and turn off Monochrome. And finally, increase the period, maybe something like this. After the sprinkle, let's add a lookup texture pop. After the noise, let's add a null. Let's call it color. And let's add it to the lookup texture as the top. Finally, in output attribute scope, Let's select color, and you can tell that these points are getting color. The lookup texture essentially assigns a color to every point based on a pixel from an incoming top. And by default, it does that based on the X and Y positions of the point. Because our noise is one-dimensional, we don't care about the V values. U and V translate to X and Y, and we're just looking to scan the noise alongside the X axis. Now, we want the points that are closer to us to receive a certain color, and as they get further from us, they get a different color. So in the U parameter here, we're going to change this to P.Z. And you'll be able to tell that the color of these points changes alongside the Z axis. Now something here doesn't look quite right. You can tell that this green is for some reason assigned to the back instead of the front. And that is because we needed to change the lookup offset here to 0.5. Now, the reason for that is this torus has a radius of 1. So the back of the torus, the backmost point, will have a Z value of minus 0.5. Frontmost point will have a Z value of 0.5. These pixel values go from 0 to 1. So they expect U values from 0 to 1. But here we have U values from minus 0.5 to 0.5. So the lookup offset here tells our lookup texture, start looking here. And as you get negative values, you will go to the left. As you get positive values, you will go to the right. Now, you'll notice that these particles aren't colored. And that is because we need to assign the color of our instancing to the actual instances. Let's go into the geo here. Let's go to the second page and assign the red channel to the red color from our instancing pop. Do the same for the green, the blue channels, and finally the alpha channel. Now, these look a little dark. That's because this light, if you look at the Z translation of this light, it's actually quite far away. I'll middle click on it and start dragging it towards the 0 point. And now these boxes are starting to get a little color. So we're already on the right path. Above our geo, let's add a Phong material. Let's drag the Phong material into the geo and increase the specular light here. The specular light is the kind of reflection that you will see from bodies of water, mirrors, reflective surfaces. And the diffuse light is the kind of reflection you will see from things like concrete. And by increasing these values, we will increase the amount of reflected light from these particles. Still, it looks quite dim. Let's do a couple more things. Let's right click after the noise here. Let's add a level. Within the level, we can now increase our brightness. This will make the boxes a little bit more bright. And finally, after our render top, let's right click and add a bloom. This will make the boxes glow a little bit. And by decreasing the minimum bloom radius, we'll be able to get a tiny bit of glow around these boxes. Finally, we'll probably need to increase the number of points in the sprinkle pop to something at least around 3000. There we go. Now, we want to make the color animate a little bit. Let's go to the noise top, click on transform, and in the X translation, we're going to type in minus abs time dot seconds divided by 5.
What this does, as you can tell, is the noise now travels to the left because the rightmost pixels are assigned to the closest particles. We get this effect that looks like the color is traveling towards the back of the tunnel. So this already looks pretty good to me. Now let's go on to animating the particles themselves. Let's expand this annotation box a little bit, drag all these guys to the right. And now let's add a math top after the sprinkle. Within the math top, let's see what we're doing. Let's go to post add and type in abs time dot seconds divided by 5. And all of the boxes just disappeared completely. That is because this number has been added to the X position, Y position, and Z position of each and every one of these boxes. So first of all, let's go in here and change this to P.Z. Now this box is traveling alongside the Z axis. So the particles are moving towards us, but they're also now way behind the camera. Let's go here, right click, insert operator, and we'll drop down a limit operator. Within the limit, we'll change the limit type minimum to loop, the limit time maximum to loop. We'll constrain this to P.Z, so only the Z axis, and change the minimum value to -0.5 and the maximum value to 0.5. Now what happens is, whenever a particle travels beyond 0.5, it will loop back to the back of the tunnel. And we'll zoom out to see what happens, and you'll notice that we got this pretty intense Z-axis movement. Maybe a little too intense. Let's go back to our map here and change this from abs time seconds divided by 5 to abs time seconds divided by 10 to essentially cut the movement speed by half. So this already looks pretty good. We might be able to increase the number of particles to something like 5,000. Okay, here we are. We can probably make these boxes a tiny bit longer. Let's try to do that. Okay. Yep, this looks good to me. These boxes animate nicely. They look pretty good. We'll go back into the level and perhaps increase the brightness a tiny bit. There we go. So this looks pretty good already. Now, you'll notice that the boxes at the back of the tunnel just seem to appear from thin air. We don't want that. So we can fix that. Let's drag the color null here to the right, and we'll right click right after the level and insert a ramp. What the ramp does, we'll zoom in to take a look at it, is if we just go into the output tab here and change this from composite and set resolution to set resolution only, it is essentially a gradient that goes from black to white. And when we change this to composite and set resolution, it will multiply the color values with the ramp values. So values to the left of this gradient become darker. We actually want values to the left of the ramp to become more transparent. So we'll go to the ramp tab over here. We'll change this rightmost point to have an alpha of 0, making it completely transparent. And we'll add another point, maybe somewhere here, and change this to pure white with an alpha of 1. And now you'll notice, let's change this to fill. You'll notice that the values to the left of the ramp become completely transparent. Now, the final thing we'll need to do here is change our Phong material so it accepts transparency.
So we'll go into the Common tab here, turn on transparency, and you'll notice that now boxes just gradually appear at the back of the tunnel. You can make a couple more changes here to make it a bit more exciting. So perhaps we can just drag these guys to the left, add another transform after the sprinkle over here, and maybe rotate it alongside the Z axis. So let's expand rotate here, go to RZ, type in abstime.seconds times 10 maybe, and we get this nice rotation here. You can make it a bit more pronounced if you change this to times 20, although that can make you nauseous. So probably times 5 for now. And that's it. A pretty cool particle tunnel effect. It changes colors, has a ton of different options to play with. I hope you had fun watching this video, and see you next time.